So you're in Vancouver then, or
Yeah, Vancouver,
okay,
Canada.
okay. But you've been to Japan quite a few times, or a few
Yeah, I
times at
think I've
least.
been to Japan about 5 times now.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Uh, like all around the same period, or throughout your life, or
All of them throughout the last like since 2000 and I want to say 15 was the first time. So pretty much every year since 2015. It's sort of just after the first vacation, I just really liked it, and it just became a easy place to go. It's relatively easy to fly there from Vancouver. It's just there's like 3 direct flights every day. I don't know
What kind
why.
of prices are you paying, if you don't mind me asking, to fly
Uh,
to Japan?
I mean, like I think the best deal I ever got was like 580 Canadian dollars, which is
oh wow.
like four. I don't know, like 450 American or like less than 500 for sure American.
That's a
Yeah,
return flight.
the return flight direct on
Wow.
ANA, and like which is
Whoa.
a great airline. I'm sure you guys know.
Yeah, yeah. Like to fly like ANA or JAL, they're pretty much
Hmm.
the same. To fly back to England would be like 3 or 4 times that
Hmm.
for a return flight. But going from England to Japan is a bit cheaper.
Did you guys
Yeah,
get pretty adventurous with food as well?
yeah. I've been pretty crazy with food in Japan. I think this trip I had some horse sashimi, which was interesting. Some raw horse. Um, I've done some semi-raw chicken, I guess, where it's like just like seared on the outsides.
That was my
Supposedly that.
first ever kind of Japanese food that I had when I came to Japan. Yeah, it's a bit freaky when you see it at first.
Yeah, you're like this. It felt it literally felt raw. Like it was like almost like instinct was telling me, don't do it,
Yeah.
don't do it.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's actually pretty good. What do you
It's
think? Did you like
yeah,
it?
it's actually it doesn't taste like chicken though. It's really interesting that like chicken raw tastes completely different than chicken cooked. It
Yeah,
almost
it's
gives it
not how
like
you would imagine it to taste.
no, you'd think it would be like a lot more slimy, but it actually chews pretty well. Maybe it's because it's so thin, but it was actually pretty good. I didn't mind it.
Yeah, I liked it. Have you tried that, Burke? The raw chicken?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've tried it. I have a horrible experience. I was forced to eat it a couple times. Yeah, and again, I enjoyed it just because it was like doused in a lot of soy sauce and
I
everything.
think that's the other thing. I think you just mostly taste the soy sauce and whatever else is on there.
Yeah, like as soon as I put it in my mouth and like, yeah, I was the slimy feeling about it was immediately like, okay, there's raw chicken in my mouth, and
Hmm.
but let me just drink a lot and force the rest of it down, and I should probably be okay. But yeah. Yeah, you were kind of mentioning though, like, because I'm curious now when people come over here, like, how are they? How are you guys like communicating or ordering at restaurants? Do you have like little Japanese, or are people using like translators a lot now?
I think my first trip, I could say konnichiwa in the most Western accent ever.
Essential.
Um, Essential. I think that's all I had. But that was literally all I knew. So it was actually, I would say it was quite difficult the first trip. It definitely limited like the places we could go because we would intentionally kind of avoid places that felt very I don't want to say unfriendly, but not approachable for foreigners. I would say there's definitely like a lot of places that like how in Tokyo there's I'm sure Sapporo is probably the same way. The restaurant is 8 stories high and there's a different restaurant each floor. I don't think we would ever try to go onto like the restaurant on the seventh floor because we were too terrified of exiting the elevator and not being able to speak Japanese and just getting confused out there. Because of that, though, on my subsequent trips, I studied a little bit of Japanese. I mean, I'm not like fluent by any means, but I was able to like read hiragana and katakana and a very small amount of kanji, and I can speak a little bit of basic conversation stuff. And I would say it definitely opens the door up as far as getting to try more experiences. I think traveling Japan without speaking any Japanese is totally doable. And Japanese people are the kindest and like most helpful people you'll ever meet as far as like going out of their way to help you out. So there's no like problem with traveling without any Japanese, but speaking a little bit of Japanese definitely opens up a lot of opportunities in Japan, I would say.
How did you normally like find places to go and eat? Like, because usually when I travel, I normally use TripAdvisor a lot and choose their recommended restaurants, but
Hmm.
they're always like way too busy and kind of touristy, so you don't really get that local feel.
Yeah,
So
I
I try and avoid
definitely
that.
the best resource first off is the Japan travel subreddit because it's just full of people that are traveling in Japan. So there's a lot of stuff there that's helpful. And through that, I learned about like Guru Navi and Tabelog or however you pronounce it, and I've which are like the Japanese equivalents of Yelp, right?
Man, that's some really good advice actually. Like I've never thought of using like a subreddit for traveling, but I guess you
Hmm.
can use that for anywhere you travel to now. Is that what you do? Like not
Uh,
just Japan.
yeah, if I'm gonna travel anywhere, I definitely always check to see if they have like a Reddit page. Like Vancouver has a Reddit page, for example. And then the second thing is I check to see if they have like a Reddit page that is like specific to travel. Which there's a Japan travel one, and it's an amazing resource. I would say I always post there, and you can people do like little meetups and stuff. I've traveled Japan solo a couple of times, and it's nice to meet up with like other people that are traveling solo while they're there. It's definitely a good resource, I'd say.
For accommodations, were you doing mostly Airbnb? And if so, like were those owned by Japanese people?
I think I only did an Airbnb actually the very first trip. Um, yeah, the first trip I did an Airbnb, and then after that I mostly did hostels. But the Airbnb we did was owned by a Japanese dude, and I mean we only saw him like once I think ever. But then after that, because I had been traveling solo, I ended up doing hostels in Japan, which was cheap and amazing. And it's not like hostels in other countries. It's definitely a lot cleaner and safer feeling, I would say.
Were you finding those like on a travel site, or was that also through the Reddit?
Some of the stuff I found through the Reddit, and some of it was just through like Hostel World. Um,
Which do you normally prefer? Do you prefer traveling solo or like with a friend? Because I kind of like traveling solo a lot and like doing what you do, staying at hostels, meeting random people, hopefully some Japanese people, because you sometimes find some
mhm.
Japanese people in those hostels, and then they seem to know a little bit more about the area as well, just because they're Japanese and they end up taking you to some interesting places that you would never have considered.